These are the last 5 books I've read and what I've rated them. These range anywhere from 1 star to 4.5, so quite the mixed bag. I finally read This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. I gave this 3.75. This was not as good as it could have been. I initially did not mind all the world building and info dumping, but then after the halfway mark, it got really agitating and annoying and excessive. I also feel like, at least on my FYP, this was marketed as a romantasy, and it is nothing of the like. It is a standard fantasy with a romance B-plot. However, I love the uniqueness of this story, and I loved our found family. There were just some choices made in this book that I wasn't a huge fan of. However, I probably will still continue the series. Next, I read Keep Them Close by David Ellis. I did not have this copy because it was a library copy, and I gave this 3 stars. I've heard so many great things about David Ellis, and I had not read his first book, Look Closer, which I know everyone loves, but I still had high expectations for this one, and it just fell flat. The character relationship dynamics did not seem real, authentic, and I felt like the plot was very slow and really wasn't that thrilling. The writing was fine, I just expected a lot more. Then I read Games, a Love Story, and this is my 1-star read. I have never given a book 1 star because normally I just DNF a book if I don't like it. This was atrocious. It's one of those books that is so pretentious and wants to think that it's saying something when really it's communicating nothing. It's an age gap, political, moral gap romance. Their dynamic just never makes sense to me. Our main character was annoying as hell, and overall, I just found this book to be so infuriating. I then finished my arc of Kiss of the Black Flame by Helen Schroeder, and I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think the first 70% of this is its strongest, and the last 30% sort of got repetitive and lost me a little bit. I also have some very strong similarities to Lord of the Rings, which you just have to read this book or see my review on Goodreads to understand what I'm saying, and I kind of hope that she goes in a more unique direction in the other books. However, our main character is a bit older, which I think is great representation. The romance and the tension was delicious, and the spice scenes were great. So I think this has a lot going for it, and I'm excited for the other books. And most recently, I finished Good People by Petmina Sabit. This was our literary fiction pick for my Let's Get Literate book club. Link in my bio if you want to join us, and I give this a 4.5. Narration and the formatting of this book is so unique. You get told the story of this immigrant Afghani family from the perspectives of everyone around them instead of themselves, yet I still felt like I was connected to the characters. It really touches upon the immigrant experience, particularly if you're Muslim or Afghani, and that tie between culture and country, the catch-22 of assimilation, and how integral perception is to how we view a situation and what assumptions we make. It's a family story about relationships, loss, pride, culture. Overall, it was quietly thought-provoking, and I'll be pondering it for a very long time. Let me know what was the worst book you've recently read and what's the best book you've read this past week.